Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this week's Market Talk. We're looking forward to sharing information with you about the current Denver housing market trends. My name is Rachel. I work with the Prevail Group. We sell houses to save dogs. They're a residential real estate group out of Littleton, Colorado. And with that, I would like to introduce you to Amy and Kevin, our lead buyer and listing agents.
Hi there, my name is Amy Sally and I am the lead buyer's agent.
Hey guys, I'm Kevin Sally and I am the listing agent. And that's all.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Rachel.
Sarah, will you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, thanks for having us again. My name is Sarah Flannery. I am with Vertex Financial Group. I'm a senior mortgage loan originator. Rachel, you okay if we start doing our little cool? This past 2 weeks since we did one of these market updates, there has been a lot that's changed in regards to lending guidelines. We've seen interest rates still remain the lowest that they have been in quite some time. So still a great time to buy or refinance your home. The changes that we saw this week mainly really came down to self-employed borrowers. So if you own your own business, up until about Wednesday this week, there was no real clear updated guidelines from the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and they finally came out this week and put some gray guidelines out there. Let's just put it that way. So we're waiting to hear back from a lot of, because I'm a broker, I work with over 40 lenders. I'm waiting to hear back from how a majority of my lenders are going to be handling this new update. And basically the overall consensus that we're getting is it's going to be on a case-by-case basis if you own your own business. And you're going to have to provide probably a little bit more documentation than you would originally. And if your business was affected by COVID and you were shut down during that time and didn't have any income coming in, that could potentially not have the greatest effect in regards to your credit profile and qualifying. So I should have some more details hopefully on that in the next 2 weeks, but all in all, still really great time, incredibly busy. I've seen a really big uptake in people wanting to buy homes. These past 2 weeks, I've probably had over 10 one-on-ones with people, getting them pre-approved and ready to go and start buying because it's a great time in the market right now. A lot of them can increase their buying power with the super low interest rates. And it just makes a lot of sense right now if you can and qualify and you're in a good spot to really go ahead and jump on that.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Sarah.
Yeah, honey.
With the FHA, I know that they had increased the credit score for FHAs. Can you tell me where they are on that right now?
Yeah, what I saw, so they were at 680.
680.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good.
Originally, before COVID, we could go down to 620 or potentially lower than that with FHA. Now with COVID happening, basically they've taken a poll of a lot of people that have declared forbearance into their mortgages, and where they saw the most people were veterans. And they also saw people obviously with a lower credit score were the ones were most likely to put their loans into forbearance. I think they had expected across the country about 20% of people to put their loan into forbearance. And they're actually seeing a lesser number than that, which is great. But of the population that they are targeting, a lot of them were veterans, a lot of them were lower credit scores, and a lot of them were self-employed borrowers. This is why they're kind of tightening up their guidelines a little bit and being a little bit more on the conservative side right now with the lending.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I have a couple who are FHA, and I just wanted to be able to relay to them like what's happening, because I didn't know, what the score was yet. So, I mean, I knew I had an idea from before, but if it's changed. So,
Yeah, I will tell you, I have one or two that will go a little bit lower than that, but they have to have very good supporting factors to allow them to lend. So either more savings or some other really strong, I'm going to use a term, but that basically just supporting factors to make their credit profile stronger. So might be an exception there to be had, but right now it's about 680.
Okay, sweet.
But yes, that's the riveting update in the mortgage world. I still think it's a really good time. It's a unique time, but it's definitely worth having some good conversations over. If you think your current situation can get improved or you're looking to buy a home, I think it's a great time.
Sorry, technical difficulties over here. Julie, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us how things have changed since we've talked to you last?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and for doing this. I look forward to it now. It's a part of my life, so I appreciate that. I would say since we were last on this market update talk that not much has changed. Yeah, home inspections still go along with your real estate transactions. One thing I suppose that people are asking more about is our maintenance home inspection. And there aren't many home inspectors that offer a maintenance home inspection. So if you know somebody, or if you have found your forever home and you're looking at it and thinking, wow, there's so many things I haven't done around here. Maybe I should have someone check it out to show me a good starting point. I would say that's been the only difference. Today, I did work with an agent, and he called me 3 times, and 3 times the sellers of the home needed to change the inspection date and time. So if you need someone who is super flexible with their inspections, I don't want to change your inspection 3 times in one day, but we have that capability. So not much has changed. Please get your home inspected, whether it is with us or someone else, and have a fantastic afternoon. Do you have a question, Sarah?
I have more of a statement. It's good to know that you guys do that re-inspection, because I talk to a lot of my clients that buy new builds.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really awesome time. There's usually a certain warranty that the builder will, come back and fix during that time. Contacting you guys in that time period before it's going to expire could be a really good thing to do, to try to have the builder come in and maybe fix a few things that were maybe missed or something that has come up, and just kind of know what you're getting into in that next few years once that warranty's up.
Absolutely. In fact, we just scheduled a builder warranty inspection. I scheduled that the other day. So builder warranty happens 12 months after you bought that house. The builder's going to walk away and say, it's all on you now. So having a third set of eyes come in and just look over the house. We are never trying to get a builder in trouble. We just want to make sure that the house is safe and up to standards in the way that you prefer it to be. So we do builder warranty inspections. We do pre-drywall inspection. And then we do builder walkthrough. So those are the 3 options that we have if you are buying a new home. And we highly recommend a sewer scope, even on a new build. Thank you.
Yes, you want to jump in there on that, because I actually just talked to someone who was thinking about going the new build direction. I said, well, just make sure you let them know that you're working with a realtor so that I can help you, because sometimes if you don't tell them up front, they won't let a realtor jump in if you've already talked to them. And if you don't have that person representing you that is not associated with the builder, there are things you're not going to know about, and that's one of them. We always do a sewer scope on new builds all the time, and people are like, really? Why would you do that? Your new house. Well, that's because that's the reason, is because they're driving their tractors over all of this stuff underground, and it can crush the sewer line, and you'll never know that. So yes, new builds, we work with them all the time, and we do full-on inspections. We make sure that everything is good to go. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Everyone needs to have a realtor in their corner, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah. And then if you hadn't thought about that, I mean, you're working directly with the real estate agent that is representing the builder. They're not representing you. So when you go in, you have nobody on your side. So,
I didn't ever
just
think about
keep
that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Julie. Terry, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you've seen over the last 2 weeks?
I sure can. Hopefully it's not a roll-off truck rolling over those sewer lines. If it is, we got a problem. Well, the last few weeks, I'm Terry with Maxway Services. We provide 20-yard roll-offs to Denver metro and surrounding areas. The last few weeks, we are still going strong. Have not seen too much of a change. We had a couple quiet days, but that's not odd for us. We are seeing more residential. So surprisingly enough, even for the 2.5 months that everybody was quarantined, we've seen some residential come through, but now we're actually seeing quite a bit more. And I don't know if that's people are just now becoming more comfortable, feeling like things are opening back up and they're going back to work, but they're doing their projects. So my contractors are still full force. We haven't thus far, fingers crossed, seen any issues with supply chains. So I talked to you guys a couple weeks ago about thinking that maybe the supply chains would start becoming an issue. So far, that has not happened. So thankfully, hopefully we just keep on the same path. So, but other than that, just moving forward, not a whole lot of changes in the last 2 weeks. And hopefully in 2 weeks from now, I can tell you the same thing. I'm hoping so. But yeah, if you guys know anybody needs even new builds, new builds and GCs and all that stuff, we're still working away. So, just send them over. We'll get them taken care of. So, thanks guys.
Terry, we have a question for you. Kevin,
do you guys take, because if I'm not mistaken, I think some roll-off companies don't take like gravel and dirt, like you were doing your house projects, cleaning out the yard or whatever. Do you guys take that, or? We
most certainly do. Any kind of clean, natural stone, we can actually recycle now. The recycling center we use off of Titan and Santa Fe has a machine. You still have to pay for it, but it's not nearly as expensive as taking that kind of stuff to the landfill. We can recycle concrete as long as there's no rebar or mesh in it. Well, let me back up. We can recycle it with rebar or mesh. It is expensive. Still not as expensive as the landfill, but clean concrete can be recycled. Depending on if the recycling center has room, they will take clean fill dirt. And that's a case by case. We have to call ahead to make sure that they have space for it. So there are options for recycling. We do the best we can and ask, if somebody wants it recycled, obviously it saves a lot of money and it keeps it out of the landfill. So we do our best to accommodate that. But it's more than possible to do that. You can't get rid of sod. You can't recycle the sod. So that's got to go to the landfill. But any kind of natural material, most of the time, you can do that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for Terry then. So when you have a dumpster full of different assorted items, and do you take them to different recycling areas, or do you try to bring them to a local warehouse and then do it all at once?
So how that works is any kind of thing that can be recycled. So if you have concrete, it has to be all concrete. If it's dirt, it has to be all dirt, and so forth. So there's no, nobody will separate those piles. When you go to the recycling center, there's a concrete pile, there's a dirt pile, there's a natural rock pile.
So you need to know in advance that you need a roll off for dirt.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then, okay.
Mhm. Yep. So you just know that you have to keep everything separate so that they can recycle it.
And what do you do with mixed use dumpsters then that have anything that they throw away from the house through a disposal?
They have to go to the landfill.
It just
Yep.
goes straight there, no recycling.
No. There's the recycling capabilities in Colorado are very small. There's a handful of recycling centers, and a lot of them are not near Denver. There's a couple up north, and obviously being down in Castle Rock, it's not cost effective for us or our customers. So the main components that we recycle are the natural materials: dirt, concrete, rock. People would love to recycle cardboard. You can if you want to take it up north. So we do what we can, but our hands are tied a little bit when it comes to recycling centers. So maybe as time goes on, there'll be more built, but it cost about $10 million to build a recycling center. So it's pricey. So we're doing our best.
Thank you, Terry. Melissa, I know this is your first market talk with us. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and how things have changed for you since COVID?
Well, I'm at my house. That's how things have changed. No, my name's Melissa Spiker, and the company is 5280 Real Estate Staging. And it is my first market talk, so I'm kind of nervous. How things have changed, I was really busy at the very beginning of the year, and then it kind of came to a screeching halt about the first part of May, which I think is a little bit later than what I would have expected. And it's just now starting to pick back up. And I do get a lot of calls, not only for staging, but for helping people get ready to put their houses on the market. And a lot of people seem to be still in the process of doing that. So whether or not they started it before COVID and kind of got pushed back a little bit because they had to stay home or they couldn't do their renovations, or they're just starting late or just tired of not being at their own house and they want to get going. I am seeing a lot of people who are ready to start moving, but it's, as far as staging is concerned, it's fairly slow right now. I do have several houses out and a couple projects coming up, but not nearly as busy as what it was this time last year or even at the beginning of the year.
So we want to jump in real quick.
Yeah. Hey, Melissa. Can you talk a little bit about your downsizing stuff and kind of how you help people through that process?
So I think it's a natural progression for a couple staging companies, and some don't. Some they just specifically stage, especially the larger companies that have their own inventory and that's what they have expertise in. But what I'm finding is I'm more of a boutique type of thing and kind of just want whatever needs to be done to make the house sell. And a lot of that is someone needs to come in and help the buyer or the seller get their house ready. And I'm finding that most of the time it's a senior person. They just can't move the boxes. They can't pack. There's a lot of clutter. There's they're not quite ready for a senior services yet, you know, because there are senior downsizings that come in and pack them up and move them to the residential areas. But they need help prior to their house being put on the market. And I kind of, you know, I like doing that. I like helping them. I like being that service that you kind of do everything from packing for them to finding someone to, you know, work with them to renovate or get a dumpster or move everything to a storage unit or take things to a consignment store. So I like to say that there's nothing that they can't ask to see if I can help them with. And if I can, you know, I'm more than happy to help them. Just whatever, you know, whatever anybody needs to make the house presentable and it's going to get the most money for them and keep, you know, the people safe, you know, especially the seniors. But I'm not specializing in
Well, I wanted to just
downsizing. Go ahead. Oh, I was just saying that I'm not a specialized senior downsizer. You know, I do help them go through their forks and say, you know, you don't need 25 extra forks or, you know, this collection of gnomes for outside when you're not going to have an outside any longer. I do that, but I don't work with the residential areas to coordinate the move. I don't, you know, physically pack them up to move to that. I do have resources for that if that's something, that's what I used to do. So I don't want to necessarily go in that direction. I'm trying to stay more in the staging, but just kind of broaden it out to whatever is going to do to get the house sold prior to them leaving.
Sure. So we, staging in our world is absolutely necessary for every listing we do. And there is no, we don't, there's, I think maybe once or twice we've not staged, and that's just because the homeowner absolutely didn't want to, or they were gone and for whatever reason. But Melissa, just so everybody knows, Melissa is our stager. We don't work with any other stagers. And she helps us with all of our listings. And it can be either a walkthrough where she does a punch list and will tell you room by room.
Very detailed. Yeah.
And it's very, very detailed. Or they move out everything and we completely restage it. And we pay for that. We do not pass it on to our client. The Prevail Group pays for that. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that that's, you know, what everybody knows and on that aspect of who Melissa is and how she is valuable to us.
Thank
For
you.
sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And this is my favorite type of client. So very easy to work with. And I really appreciate, you know, I do my best to give a competitive bid. And so it's nice not to have to, you know, drive all the way up to, you know, the airport and get there and then realize you're one of 5 that someone got a bid for. And, you know, just after time, I'd much rather just be honest and say, this is how much it's going to cost and build a relationship. And I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
And being included in this. This is like very businessy for me.
You're like, oh, I'm used to this. Well, we're glad you joined us.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. Amy, Kevin, do you guys want to talk about the real estate side for everyone watching on Facebook? What you've seen with buyers and sellers in the last few weeks? You're on mute.
You had cut out, so we didn't hear what you were saying.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Rachel?
Do you guys want to talk about the buying and selling side of real estate for those that are listening in on Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in real quick on the listing side. So to kind of echo Melissa there. So May we were about 2,700 less homes sold in May this year than May last year. So it was a significant decrease in homes sold. I mean, if we had 3,400 sell, and that's 2,700 less than last year in May. So that just kind of shows you. I mean, it's a big difference. So May was very, very slow, and I think a lot of that was residual from when they started locking us down in April, and then it just kind of all slid over through May. People are starting to get active again, though, and I know Amy on the buy side for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, on the buy side, it's been pretty active. I'm seeing houses all over coming up daily, 6, 7, 8 houses a day just for my buyers searches. So I'm seeing a lot come up, and the good ones are moving fast. We just got another one under contract just a week ago that was a jumbo loan. So it's a pretty pricey home, and there were 2 offers on that home. We thankfully got it, but just giving you that background, like even at the higher price loans, there are multiple offers still. So we're seeing a lot of activity, and everybody needs to buy and sell. So there's always a reason. Like a lot of the times we don't do it just for the fun of it. because it's not fun to move, but when you have a job, a divorce, moving out of state, kids, deaths, all of it, it's life changing. And so sometimes you just have to make those moves and that decision. And so there are still people out there doing it, and I'm sure like Sarah can relate. She knows, and Trish, if she were to be able to jump on, same thing. So we're seeing activity like nothing has changed, really, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Aim, that's interesting that you say that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Terry. It's interesting that you say that about the jumbo loan. I have a client that was referred to me by a financial advisor, and she's trying to sell her current home and buy her parents' home because she just had to put her parents into assisted living for memory loss, which it stinks. But her house is listed at like $785 up north, kind of Arvada area. She hasn't had one showing.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm interested to hear about the jumbo, because she's a little freaked out by it. So her house has only been on for 5 days, so it's still fairly new, but she's a little freaked out by the whole thing. And I'm like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. So my recommendation one would also, it's the kind of house. So it depends on what kind of house she has. I mean, there are some that are more desirable than others. And is it newly renovated? Does it need work? Those are gonna, you can still have a $780,000 house that needs work. So, what does it look like? How desirable is it?
Is it priced right?
And then is it priced right? So a lot of those factors come into play. So, even for those of you who have, listing your house, those are huge. And if we have some rules on how we follow that. So I would definitely look at those 3 factors with her and just see what's going on there.
Yeah. I don't know what her actual house looks like. I've only been talking to her for basically since she listed the house. We were just trying to figure out what the best route was. Do we wait? Does she qualify with both? What's our strategy? And she qualifies with both beautifully, but she's not. Is she comfortable assuming that?
Right.
That's a hard thing to decide. So it's just interesting to hear you say that, because I think it might spark a little bit of hope in her. And start having the conversation with, is it priced right accurately is the real question.
Yeah, exactly. Terry, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious. Are people becoming more comfortable with you guys going into the homes and looking at the homes, and not quite as fearful of, because I know you said a couple of weeks ago that they were asking you to stay outside and the buyers were going in. are you seeing a trend where people are becoming more comfortable walking homes with you?
Yeah, yes, we are seeing them more comfortable. I also think it has to do with just the specific buyer. You know, everybody is different. Everybody has an opinion right now on how to handle everything, and so we just try to be as respectful as we can on what is important to them. But I think both of us are seeing it a lot more relaxed, for sure.
Yeah.
Now we're still gonna like, we have another client coming up in July, and she's in her 80s. So we have elected to and talked her into moving where she's moving in with her kids in another state, so that we can have people coming into her house, because we don't want to risk that anyway. You just don't know. She's not, you know, a super healthy person, and she's in her 80s, so she's the most susceptible age group, and we want to make sure that we are respecting that and that she is safe. So in that aspect, we have, you know, taken precautions and we are getting her out of the house before we list it.
Cool. Yeah, I think people are becoming more comfortable. Drivers are still wearing masks, you know, when they get out of the trucks and stuff like that. But I was kind of curious, you know, if people are now being, you know, they're like, okay, you can walk with me. And I'm okay with that.
They're standing next to us, they're talking to us, they're, you know, they're not even wearing a mask. Like, that's just, you know, to each their own.
Yeah, well, exactly. Thank you.
True. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you all so much. It looks like Trish is still on her call. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
No, I'll just give a shout out to Trish and Tidal in general. They just have been super accommodating to all of this during this weird time. I know Trish said last time she's been driving all over the place, waiting in her car, Skyping, FaceTiming with clients to walk them through the documents. It's just all in all really impressive to watch such a large industry really have to adapt. And I know Trish is doing above and beyond to really make sure that she's bringing that excellent service to people. So everything on that aspect with, you know, her and some of the other title companies that we've worked with are all just doing everything in their power to make it as safe. And again, kind of like Kevin and Amy were saying, everybody's a little bit different. Everybody's got a different comfort to whatever it is. So adapting to those, you know, concerns or comforts is something that they have been really, really exceptional about.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming on again. I really like the market talks. I think, you know, not only does it provide really good information, but it keeps us together too, because we haven't been able to really see each other that much. So it's really nice to kind of catch up, and it's almost like we're regrouping again every 2 weeks and just being like, okay, now, you know, where have we been and where are we going? So thank you for participating. We will do this again in 2 weeks. We're just going to continue these talks because, you know, honestly, I think we'll even continue them when everything becomes somewhat normal too, because I just think they're important. So I just want to thank everyone for participating.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I do have a favor to ask really super quick. Amy and Kevin and Sarah, can you hang out with me for a minute after I stop recording, please?
Sure.
All right. We don't have any other questions. I am going to end the recording. So thank you all again for joining us, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Bye.